All right, we're going to pick up here with example 2. This is day 5 from Unit 13 for Algebra 1, Arithmetic and Geometric Sequences. Okay, so this one says use the following sequences to answer the question below. So 3, 7, 11, 5, and 19, or 15 and 19. So first let's figure out what type of sequence is this. So we're going to see here that these numbers are increasing. So either we're adding something every single time or we're multiplying. So here this looks like we're adding 4. Okay, so we're going to add 4 every single time. So that means that our common difference is 4. The other piece of information that we're going to need is a sub 1. So remember, a sub 1 is just the first term. Well, the first term of this sequence is 3. Okay, well, so is this sequence arithmetic or geometric? Because we're adding the same thing every single time, it's arithmetic. And what is the common difference or common ratio? So we're going to have a common difference here, and that common difference we said was 4. Okay. Now we're going to write the explicit formula and the recursive. So remember, the explicit formula said that we have a sub n, and it's going to equal the first term, a sub 1, then our common difference, which is adding 4 times n minus 1. So this is all big. The only thing that's little is that n. We need to simplify this. This means follow PEMDAS. PEMDAS says anything in the parentheses that can be reduced? Nope. No exponents. Then we move to multiplication or division. So we have something to be multiplied here. The 4 gets multiplied by the n and the negative 1. So this is going to give us a sub n equals 3 plus 4 times n is 4n. 4 times negative 1 is minus 4. Then we can move to the add subtract. So here's my like terms. So a sub n equals 4n, and then 3 minus 4 is a negative 1. So our explicit formula is a sub n equals 4n minus 1. All right, so now we're going to find the recursive formula. So our recursive formula means we need to state the first term, so a sub 1, which we said was 3. And then we're going to say that a sub n, so the term we're looking for, is equal to the term before the first, so that's represented by a sub n minus 1, so the term previous to this one. And then we're just going to add the common difference. So here, this is big, this is small, and that is big. So the a and the 4 are the same size, and this is a subscript, the n minus 1. So this is the recursive formula. Okay? All right, let's look at example 3. So go ahead and move to the back, or your next page, however you got that. So example 3, use the following sequence to answer the questions below. Negative 10, negative 15, negative 20, negative 25. So we're going to notice that these numbers are getting smaller and smaller. Okay? Yes, remember, negative numbers that look like they're getting bigger are really getting smaller. So either we're subtracting something every single time or we're multiplying by a fraction. To me, this looks like I could be subtracting. So negative 10 minus 5 is negative 15. Negative 15 minus 5 is negative 20. So we're seeing we are indeed subtracting every single time. So that means we're going to have a common difference. That common difference is subtract 5. Our first term here is a negative 10. So is this arithmetic or geometric? It's arithmetic because we're subtracting. Do we have a common difference or common ratio? We have a common difference. It is d equals minus 5. Now we're going to find the explicit. So remember, the explicit is we're going to have to simplify it. So it says the term we're looking for, so a sub n, equals the first term. Then our common difference, so minus 5. This is not multiplying these together. This is subtracting, times n minus 1. Okay? Again, remember, we're going to need to distribute this. So a sub n equals negative 10 minus 5n plus 5. Remember, that sign is going to become positive when we have a negative 5 times a negative 1. Okay. Now I'm just looking for the things that are like terms. So a sub n equals negative 5n, and then negative 10 plus 5 is a negative 5. Okay. So I'll rewrite that over here. So a sub n equals negative 5n minus 5. Okay, then our recursive always states the first term, so the first term here is negative 10. And to get the term we're looking for, we take the previous term, so a sub n minus 1, and we're just going to subtract 5 every single time. That's our common difference. All right, so let's look at example 4. Example 4 says, use the following sequence to answer the questions below. 1, 5, 25, 125, and so on. Hopefully you see, yes, these numbers are getting bigger, and they're getting bigger pretty quick. So to me, that kind of tells me I'm not going to be adding a small number every single time. Maybe I'm going to be multiplying by a number every single time. So let's use our little pattern of taking the second term and dividing by the first. This gives me a 5. Let's check the next one. 25 divided by 5. That's also a 5. And 125 divided by 25 is also 5. So that's telling me that we have the pattern here of multiplying by 5 every single time. Okay, so that means we have a common ratio of 5, and our first term is 1. All right, so is this arithmetic or geometric? It's geometric because we're multiplying every single time. So that means we have a common ratio. We said that common ratio is 5. Our explicit formula, remember this one looks a little bit different. It says that a sub n is equal to the first term, which we said it was a 1. Then remember I said I like to put parentheses around my common ratio, so then times your common ratio raised to the n minus 1 power. Okay, hopefully you should recognize that this looks like exponential growth, exponential decay problems that we've done in the past. So if you keep that in mind, that should help you know that this would look like an exponential function. Okay, recursive formula here is your first term is 1, and then a sub n, so my term I'm looking for is going to be my r value, which is a 5, times a sub n minus 1. If you want to put that in parentheses, you can. If you want to put this piece in parentheses, it doesn't really matter as long as you know that it's multiplication. Okay? Then the last part here, E, says find a sub 20. Now, this means I want you to find the 20th term. Okay? That means this becomes the n value. When you are finding a certain term, you need to make sure you remember you always go back to the explicit formula. So here, we're going to use our explicit formula, a sub 20. So everywhere that n was, I'm going to put a 20. So a sub 20, this means the 20th term, is going to be equal to 1 times 5 raised to the 20 minus 1. Now, I'm going to grab my calculators just so you make sure y'all can see what this is going to look like so everybody knows and there's no confusion. So 1 parenthesis, 5, close parenthesis. I'm using this button right here, right at the bottom. You see it's the caret, the rooftop, to get to the exponent. So push that and you get to the exponent. And I'm going to do 20 minus 1. If you want to just do 19, that's fine as well. All right, now please be very careful. This is not the number 1.9. This is 1.907348633 E13. This is scientific notation. That E means times 10 to the 13th power. That means this decimal gets moved to the right 13 times. That is going to make it an extremely large number. So what I suggest doing if you get a number like this is just saying 1.907, I usually do 3 decimals, times 10 to that 13th power. This is going to tell me that you know it's a very, very large number. If you just put this, that's really wrong. Okay, because 1.907 is a very small number compared to this one that's going to have 9 places and then your decimal. Or sorry, 13 places and then your decimal. Okay, so that's a very large number. All right, let's look at these word problems. Example number 5. The graph shows the length of the rows formed by various numbers of grocery carts when they are nested. That just means pushed together. okay, where n is the number of carts and f of n is the row length. So here the n is representing the number of carts, okay, so that's like our x value, and then the y value is the length of those carts. That's this y value, 38. The first thing I like to do is write our sequence. Our sequence comes from the y values, so 38, 50, 62, 74, and 86. Okay, this would definitely keep going if I nested more and more carts together. All right, so first we want to write an explicit rule. So first we got to determine, is this arithmetic or geometric? So are we adding or multiplying? Hopefully you can see that we are adding 12 every single time. So that means we have a common difference of 12, and our first term is 38. So when we write our explicit rule, we have the first term, 38, then add our common difference of 12 times n minus 1, and yes, we do need to simplify this down, so we have a 38 plus 12n minus 12, so a sub n equals 12n, and then 38 minus 12 is going to give us a 26. Okay, that means this equation right here can help us find any number of length no matter how many carts. So this is going to be the length, and this is going to be for however many carts. So that helps us with part B. What is the length of a row of 25 nested carts? So this means I want to know if I have 25 carts together. So we're going to take this equation and we're going to put a 25 where n is. So 12 times 25 plus 26. Okay, so this means 25 carts nested together is going to be what length? Well, 25 times 12, that's 300. 300 plus 26 is 326, and these are, sorry, wrong measurement unit. These are inches. Okay. All right, and then the last one down here is a ball bouncing. So a ball is dropped from a tower. The table shows the ball's height of the bounces. Okay, so after bounce 1, it's 300 centimeters, 2, 150, 375. So our sequence comes from the y values, that's these. Okay. Hopefully you're noticing these are getting smaller, and they're not by subtracting, so it's multiplying by what? Well, 300 divided by 150 is, oops, sorry, I did that backwards. 150 divided by, you're supposed to use the second term, divided by the first term, and we get 1/2. If we do the third term divided by the second term, we get a 1/2 again. So we're seeing that we have a common ratio of 1/2 and a first term of 300. So our explicit formula is going to be a sub n equals the first term times my common ratio, which is 1/2, raised to the n minus 1 power. Okay, so this is going to give me whatever the height is at however many bounces. So remember, bounce is the n, this part was the a sub n. So what is the height of the 6th bounce? So this means this is going to be the n. So when I say my n is 6, so the height for the 6th bounce is equal to 300 times 1/2 raised to the 6 minus 1. And guys, we can type that right into our calculator. It's going to give us the fraction 75/8. Well, that doesn't help me, so let's find the decimal, which is 9.375, and these are centimeters. Okay. If you've got questions, please reach out to your teacher.